What's going on, everybody? My name is Dwayne, and welcome to this week's episode of Developing Apex Brands. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Developing Apex Brands, here with your boy, Dwayne, coming to you live from the Edit Bay. So on this week's episode, I got my man, the one, the only. I got my man Meezy on the podcast today. This man is an exceptional man, into the verbal linguistic arts, right? He got a couple different venues popping. He has his textually active podcast popping with Roz and my good friend EA Green. He also has his personal 10-piece killer thing popping, and probably a bunch of other stuff that I don't even personally know about until we bring him onto the podcast. So without further ado, let me bring on my man Meezy to the podcast. What's going on with you, Meez?
What's good, Dwayne? How you doing, man? Good to be here. Happy to be here.
Glad to see you here, man. I appreciate you giving me your time at such a late part of the evening.
For sure. I wasn't gonna miss this.
Yeah, man. Hopefully I ain't cut into no wrestling.
We got the DVR. It'll be on there when I get done. I'll come back to it.
Hey, look, man. See, look, that's even more love right there, right?
Always.
Yeah, most certainly, man. So let's get into it, man. So let's give our listeners a little bit of background. Who is Meezy? Where does he come from, and what does he represent?
Meezy is only child from a single parent household, single mother household, and went Real Hall, North Carolina. A lot of people don't know that verbatim, but when you live in a suburb, the city that you claim, the big city that's closest is the one you claim. So Winston Salem native, just out here trying to make a way for everybody and show people the way along the way.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this question, man. So, Meezy, we have a lot of similar upbringing, right? Same situation for me, man. Single mother household. I did grow up in an inner city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm originally from Belsuver.
Cool. See.
But I grew up also in a suburban area called Oakdale, which is West Allegheny district. So growing up in a suburb, right?
Yeah.
How did you relate, to inner city Winston kids at an early age, man? How did that make you feel?
For me, it was one of those things where because I had family, in the city, it was easier. Like, I spent a lot of my, elementary years on the south side. Like my cousins and family lived over there. So as a black family, you get together every weekend and spend time with family. And so I spent a lot of time on the south, to the point where, when they would see me, they thought I was one of the brothers. So shout out to my cousin Chip that owned Kamiko, that owned the Northside store here.
Oh, look, man, I'm supposed to be on a podcast with Chip, man. Do apologize.
Yeah,
Chip.
That's my cousin. Like, we like second cousins, and so I grew up. Yeah, mm-hmm. So I grew up with him and his brothers. His grandma stayed on the south side, and so as a child, like, my mom and his mom were they first cousins. Well, like, they may be second cousins, and me and him third cousins. And so they were so close that, like, every time they would see me, they would think I was one of her sons. So it was like, we was that close. So we spent a lot of time together. So I spent a lot of time on the south. And then in middle school, I started, like, spending time with my dad's side. So I spent a lot of time on the east. And then when I got to high school, I went to north. So, I'm on the north, hanging out all the time. Like, everything I had to do was on the north side. So I spent a lot of my growing up development all around the city. So it helped. Like, it worked out.
That's pretty dope, man. So let me ask you this question here, Meezy. So, what I currently do, which is my passion at this point, right? I love cameras, I love videography, love photography, graphic design, all that stuff, right? But this wasn't my first love, man. My first love was music, right?
Always.
Right? So what, and I don't know, maybe this was your first love, but was podcasting the first thing that kind of made you feel like, man, this is something bigger than me and I want to pursue this? Like, or did you have something before podcasting that kind of like pulled you out artistically?
Artistically, I would say no. This podcasting was kind of something I developed. I think, like you said, I think my first love was probably music, but not the creation or not the. It was just simply the love of music. Like, I love hip hop, I love R&B, like I love rap, and so growing up, I spent a lot of time by myself, and the music was all I had. And so it became this, like, every day after school, go home, see what's new, come out, go back to school, talk about it, go home, listen to new music, go back to school, talk about it. So it became like this thing that I just, like, to this day, I spend every Thursday night up midnight, 2-3 a.m. listening to the new shit. And it became such a thing that then I developed wanting to know the history. And then it became like, all right, I grew up, I'm 30, so the internet started becoming a thing. I'm 14, 15, it's cool, we here. 2010, I started listening to podcasts, and they like telling the history of hip hop. And it's like, oh, this is cool. Like, I love like learning like this. And then 2015 came around, and like the podcast that I loved, like Juan Epstein and Combat Jack, rest in peace to Combat Jack. These are podcasts telling the story, and I'm like, oh, you can tell your opinion about something or tell your story about something on the mic. And so then once I saw Joe Budden do what he did, I was like, nah, I could do that too. And so then that just became just like an outlet. Like, it started off as just like an opinion-based thing. Like, I just get on there and tell my opinions. But then I got this love for transitions. And so then that trended into, like, I wanted to see my city grow. And it's like, let me just make this a radio show and play the artist music. Like, boom, they don't get no play, let me do that. But then I ran into some hills. They didn't want to send the music, they didn't want to share it. It's like, I'm trying to help you, you're not trying to help me, whatever. And so then that transitioned to me like wanting to build like a playlist for people to listen to. And so then that became a show that was Wealth and Prosper Radio. And then my homie Hoop was like, hey man, me, you, and our other homie Nick, we could do like Joe Budden, we could do a show. And then that became Probably Shouldn't Be Drinking, and we did Probably Shouldn't Be Drinking for probably about 6-7 months. And Probably Shouldn't Be Drinking transitioned into Textually Active, because Probably Shouldn't Be Drinking was 3 guys giving their opinion on pop culture. And when EA got into the picture, he came and took over all the technical situation. Like, I was doing most of it, but when he came in, he was like, I think I could do it. So, me, here's your chance to do what you can do. Exactly. And so at that point, I realized there wasn't no women like in this space. And I like came up with like, damn, I would love to produce a woman's podcast. And then EA was like, I was thinking the same thing, because his wife at the time, my co-host now, Rez, when Rez would come to our show and want to get on the mic, and she would get on the mic so much, we just made her like the first lady of our show. And so then he took Rez and our homegirl Simone Simi, he put them together for Textually Active. And so when my co-host Hoop, he couldn't come, he lived in Durham, so the commute was getting to be a lot for him. We just took Probably Shouldn't Be Drinking, Textually Active, put them together because the women's show didn't have any male listeners, and the male show didn't have any women listeners. And then we put it together, and Textually Active was born.
Okay. And that's actually crazy that you and look, that's how I know you're good with transitions, right? Because you literally took my next transition, bypassed it, and just continued into it in one conversation.
Yeah,
it's great. Always. That lets me know that you're good at your job, right?
I try my best.
Yeah, man. So just to recap, right? So you had the Shouldn't Be Drinking podcast.
I had Fat Freaks podcast was a podcast I did by myself. It was just my opinions about what was going on in pop culture. I did that for a couple, probably like 2 months, and then I'm like, let me throw. Talking to yourself on a mic for 30 plus minutes is the hardest thing anybody could do.
It's rough. You gotta get used to it.
It's hard. And so then I was like, well, if I incorporate the other thing that I love, music, and play some of these unknown underground artists, that can cut in some of the time that I spend talking. Yeah, exactly. So that was that. Then that transitioned to, I make really good playlists, and I would love for people to hear the playlist. So I started making Wealth and Prosper Radio, and I started doing that. And then that transitioned into, when I stopped doing that, I started doing Probably Should Be Drinking. The three guys giving our opinion on pop culture, and then that transitioned into Textually Active. That went from 4 friends to 3 friends to now currently me and Riz.
Okay. So that's what I know you guys for most.
Right.
And that's what I know you for most, right?
Right.
The Textually Active, right?
Yeah.
Very clean branding, very potent conversation. You guys get to your points, you make your points, and you guys have a really good chemistry between the two of you guys that make the conversation flow very smoothly, right? So
appreciate it.
Let me ask you this question, man. Let's just say I'm somebody out there, right, wants to start a podcast, and I come across Textually Active, and I really love the podcast, man. Can you give me like some insight into what is your process when coming up with ideas for the week? Like, you don't have to tell me exactly what the idea is, but like, how do you base the conversation? Is this something that you guys plan out, or is this just a chemistry that the two of you all have where you just know where to hit the conversation, where to take it, thus so on and so forth?
It's kind of a combination of both. So a combination is we try to have weekly meetings, or at least once a month have a meeting and plan out what's about to happen, like what subjects do we want to touch. And a lot of times that work out, but sometimes you gotta hit current events in a time, not necessarily like what's going on your timeline, but like the origin around it, like a story around it. And so a lot of the times we may come in, Thanksgiving just went by, we need to do a Thanksgiving episode, and we'll talk about why Thanksgiving is getting old. We getting older, we need to starting our traditions. And then because of our chemistry, the conversation will just flow. Like, there are certain bullet points that we have, but those are just there in case we need the transition. But a lot of times we've been friends for about 4 years. So like, the conversations that we have on the show are generally conversations we would have if the mics was off. So it's like one of those things where we just know each other, we know our spots, like we actually friends, and we just not two, 3 people that come to a podcast.
Most certainly. So let me ask you this question here, Meezy. And I ask this to everybody that comes on the podcast, right? And the reason I ask this is to create a common thread between all of these different podcasts, to show people that there's a difference between artistry and business, right? Right. So, no matter what industry you're in, whether you're in photography, videography, you're in the podcast industry, if you're into selling doors, right? there's an art and then there's a business, right? So how do you and Rez, kind of, and EA as well, manage, the difference between this is the art that we do, right? And we're good at what we do, and the business of making sure that all of this makes sense.
I think for us, I know you said that there's a difference, but I think for us there is no difference.
Okay.
So for us, we family, friends, family first. So we know that when we come in here to do this, there is a line that's there, but a lot of times we know when we cut these mics off, we cut this camera off, we can talk about this and let this be what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think the art is just us being ourselves. The business is just everybody else gets to see us be ourselves. Mm-hmm. That's what the difference is, basically. Because we friends.
Let me ask you this thing. I guess to dig a little bit deeper, then what is your motivation behind, doing this whole, podcasting, interviewing, multimedia thing? Like, what is your motivation? Everybody's motivation is not the same. Some people are in it for money. Some people are in it for, energetic release, to fulfill a void or a passion. So what is it for you, Meez?
I think for me, it's mostly being a voice and an example for a group of people who may not have one. Like, I come from Winston Salem, North Carolina. When you do the research and look at the people who've come from our city and made it, a lot of them aren't relatable. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul is a superstar basketball player. If you're not a basketball player, you're not relatable. Stuart Scott on TV, Pam Grier in movies. But if that's not what your passion is, then they don't relate to you. You know what I'm saying? We got a city full of rappers. Shout out Tia and shout out and Shot from the Tray. It's like a rappers, but if rap ain't your thing, you don't have an example. So with me and coming in podcasts, I try my best to go in there every week and be who I am when these cameras not around. If today is a day where did nothing go right for me and nothing was going right, when I turn on the cameras, I'm gonna sit here and tell you I had a bad day today. It wasn't good. Shit was wild. And I'm here working through it. And I'm sure there's somebody out here who feel just like me. And they can relate to that. I just try my best to go, and my motivation is to relate to somebody somewhere, because we all feel like this no matter what.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question here, Meez. Some of the ladies out there might want to know, are you in a relationship?
Absolutely. Full time, my pride and joy. We are in I've been in one. How long? It's about to be mad at it. This is 3 going on 4. It'll be 4 next year. So we've been together for a while.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you and your lady.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we've been together.
So another common thread that I'm hearing in this conversation is your reverence for women. I've heard you, saying like, oh well, there's too many guys here. We need to get a female perspective.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on why? Do you feel like our sisters are getting the just due that they deserve in multimedia?
I think that no and yes. It just depends on where you look at it, from what standpoint you look at it. I think women are some of the best tastemakers you can find, especially black women. And when I say women, I really only mean black women. Let's just be clear.
Hey, look,
black women are some of the best tastemakers. If you a rapper and black women love your song, black women are the ones that's gonna tell everybody that we love this song. The guys then be like, oh, this what the girls like. And when you come up to a city and they see all the girls in the show for you, the guys come with that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? These women, I think they are now starting to get the platforms to display this. Like, everybody's platform don't have to be I'm half naked. I don't have to be, you know what I'm saying, BBL'd out. It's women who are quiet and just not even, I don't even want to make this like physical. It's just like, there are women who are smart too, that do really great things, and just because they not naked, they don't have a platform. Those type of women are now getting these platforms, and I think it's amazing, because I think a lot of women are the brainchild and the engine that make a lot of the things that you like go.
Oh yeah, most certainly. You know what they say about every great king, right?
Yeah, there's a great queen, a better queen behind her.
Exactly, right? So I totally agree with you that African American women, black women in general, are amazing tastemakers. Whatever they decide is typically what tends to be in for the next 10 15 years until it plays out. And then they'll already be on to the next thing, which will be cyclical, right? So let's transition from the podcast, right, and transition into the thing that actually introduced me to you the first time that I ever met you. You probably don't remember this, but Kaylin did. I think it was Kaylin. She did a showcase in Greensboro, right on.
Oh, yeah.
And Banks did like a whole set, right at the end. That was my first introduction to you, right? That's when I had first gotten into cameras. Just had a GoPro and some little rinky dink, a little rinky dink holder, Now I'm thousands of dollars into the craft and hours and hours and hours of knowledge in. But so was that your introduction to music with Banks, or were you into music before Banks?
At that point, that was, I want to say that was 17, like 17,
yeah, that was 18. A little while ago.
Yeah, we had already been rocking. I met Banks in like 2011, so I think we've probably been in this thing about a decade. And we met through some mutual friends, and we used to date like best friends at one time. And so like we had connected early in life, because when I was in high school, I ran a music blog, a lifestyle blog. It was music, fashion, all of that. And it was called Futuristic Boulevard. And at the time, I was just me copy and pasting from the sites that I loved, because I knew the people that liked me might not know about those outlets. And so if they saw it from me, at least they knew it. And I had a friend in high school. She ran a blog just like that. So I was like, oh, it was cool. And she had like a co-author on there, and every time I would see him post, I'd be like, oh nah, this is hard. And then come to find out in life, I realized that it was Banks. And so it was like, so he had been watching me and I had been watching him. Later in life, we met through the mutual the girlfriends, and till this day, every conversation we have in person is about music. Till this day. And so it started around then. Like we would we would meet each other on the weekends. Did you hear this? Have you heard that? What do you like and what you like? And that transition to, he started to rap. He was in a group, Fly Illuminati. It was a great group. The city was really flooding.
They had a girl in the group, right? Her name Lily?
No. Lily came afterwards. It was just him and his best friend Chill. It was him and Chill, and they rapped together. They were with ILS. Shout out to my homie Stay. Shout out Sean. They was with them, and they were like making waves. And that was just me, supporting my friend. And as time went by, my love for music is just like, I'm on the internet every day just looking, and I would like, you know what I'm saying, y'all should do ABC. Like, why don't y'all do this? And so eventually Chill moved to Seattle to start a new business, and he was far. Here. Yeah, that's far. Chill moved to Seattle. His love for music wasn't there as much, but Banks still kept it, and we just came together. One day he was like, bro, I made this project, tell me what you think. And he played me the project, and I gave my input, and like our friendship was so far that he trusts me. He trusts me with that, and that project was Wealth. I helped with the rollout, and we basically been rocking. That's 2014. We probably been rocking musically together, business wise, since 2014.
Okay, 2014. Yeah. So we're talking about 7, almost going on 8 years.
Yeah, man. We've been doing this thing because they started in 2010. I started helping him in like 2014. Yeah, 7, 8.
That's dope, man. So specifically, what do you do for Banks, man? Because I don't know if you know, but I personally just shot a music video for one of my good friends, Blvd.
Right. Shout out Blvd.
Yeah, man. They just did the Toxic Love music video.
Yeah.
Banks is a feature on there, so shout out to my man Banks. I had a pleasure shooting that music video with you. Definitely top tier of what you do, and I know that project's gonna take off, man.
So mostly the things that I do are I like to call it creative direction. So generally what I do is I make up everything that goes around a release. So if you've seen some of the latest singles that's out, we got Kane and Misunderstood, and what's the other one? It's another Cold Talker. Like, when you go to your DSPs, those covers I made, except for Misunderstood. I didn't make Misunderstood, but I did the promo behind Misunderstood when it came out.
Oh, okay.
So I make
so
covers.
You do graphic design.
A little bit. I do what I can. Okay. I'm not your level, because every time we talk, I keep telling you to teach me. I ain't that level. But
hey, look, I don't mean to interrupt you either, man. But look, I just made a video about a week. Hey, look, there's no cap. Now, I'm gonna send it to you after we done. All right. But last week I made a video, and I was like, I said on the video, I said, Meezy, this one is for you.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna send that to you just so you know I'm not playing. But yeah, I made that video for you though.
So I dabble in graphics. So I make cover arts. If you look at the Be Like Banks EP that's on your streaming sites, and For the Fall, and I think I made all of them except for maybe 2. So if it's a album on there, I probably made all of those. I generally do a lot of them social media. So the posts that you see, I've done that, and I just do whatever it takes to get this machine going. I don't mind doing it. My ego ain't fragile enough to be like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. Whatever I think I can help in, that's what I do.
You know what's funny about this conversation, because it's there's so many parallels between us. Just when you say, what it sounds like is you're kind of like the multimedia guy.
Yeah.
You're kind of like Mr. Intangible. You're like the Scottie Pippen mixed with Dennis Rodman.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't mind that.
Yeah. And I don't either, man, and I think that's funny because we both come from, single parent households.
Yeah.
Suburban yet, inner city affiliation. I call it hood adjacent. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like I'm from the hood, you know what I'm saying? But I'm parallel universe.
Right. Yeah. I was at home when the street lights came on already in the house, all that.
Exactly. No, totally relatable, man. So, I don't want to hold you too long, man. So, we got our textually active podcast. We got our 10-piece killer. Oh, let me ask you this question. Are you making these 10-piece killer designs for the clothing and stuff too?
Yeah, those concepts that I come up with. The hat I got on as a legend of the city, I'd like to say, had to copy a little bit of Mountain Fried, place that we love. If you're from the city, do a little remix on their design. They'll figure it out one day, but by that time it'll be over with. But yeah, man, this is just a hobby for now, like wanting to see how the business of creating and selling merch, so I can add that to my repertoire. Like, I can be talent, I can be behind the scenes, I can do it all. So these are just, I do a lot of things just to add to, like, oh, I've done that, this is how I did it. This is just all to, like, teach people, because I learned that, like when I started doing Fat Feet podcast, I had to take Audacity. So it taught me how to learn Audacity. I'm on Audacity, I'm recording in Audacity. That taught me how to use it for when I started doing my radio show. It taught me how to fade in, fade out. I did all of these things. So then when I got to, probably shouldn't be drinking, I knew the basics of how to do it. So we can start this, hand it over to E. E go learn what he know how to do, and then we go into Textually Active. And so then, from that, making cover art for the podcast or the shows that I do means that I need to learn how to do it. So now I have the skill. Oh, Banks, I'm finna put out this single. Can you make me cover art for the single? All right, I can do that. Here. And so all the steps that I've done has gotten me to a place where I'm like, well, I think at some point, if the music get big enough, we need to sell merch. So I need to start understanding how to create merch, sell merch, designs that I like, designs that I don't like. I haven't got to the step of fabric, but like just beginning pieces in order to make this machine for everybody. Like, I designed some of the TA merch. Like, it's just these steps. I'm ever learning how to do things in case I need to do them myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I totally understand. Look, everything that you're speaking on, I'm just sitting here listening to it, with an internal smile, because it's
and not even just that. Like, like I said earlier, I want to be an example of somebody you can do it. Like, you can do this. Like, if you got questions, like, people come to me all the time, like, especially because they think podcasting is this thing they should do or they want to do, and they come to me because they think I have it all. Like, oh, I see what you do. You've been doing this, and I'm just like, bro, you gotta want to do this. Nothing about this is what it takes. If you have 2 listeners, you gotta just forget that and just keep making content, because you're not gonna turn on these mics one day and 100,000 people gonna be listening to you. It's just not gonna happen. You gotta want to do this. And so if it's something that I could show people, like you didn't even know those cover arts. No, I made those. Like, yeah, that was me. It wasn't Photoshop. It was some apps on my phone, but I made it.
Oh, and wow.
It's like, okay. It's like, oh, so you can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do it too. You just gotta practice or take the step to do it.
Hey, look, that's amazing, man. I would have never expected for you to tell me that you did a lot of that stuff on your phone, man.
Yeah, man. I'm learning Photoshop. I got it. I'm trying to learn it. I'm not that good, but a lot of that stuff that you seen, all on my phone.
Yeah, and let me give you a personal, piece of advice, man. Learn Photoshop, but also equally and actively learn Illustrator.
Yeah. I've been testing it.
Yeah. Photoshop is a lot more intuitive, and it's a lot easier to learn. But Illustrator is just, it's very basic, but it's very intuitive. So you just gotta, take your time with that one. Yeah, man. But I don't want to hold you too much longer.
It's cool. I'm free today. The wife is out of town for the weekend. The wrestling, I'm gonna watch that, drink a beer, and then figure out my next steps for all of the endeavors that I got going on.
You a beer connoisseur?
Yeah, man. This month, the beer of choice is Wake Forest has this local beer called Deacon Brew that they sell at the football games, and it's manufactured at this brewery in Raleigh, and so that is what I've been consuming this month. Went to a couple Wake games the last couple weeks, and had those there, and then I saw that they sold them in the store, and I'm like, oh, I like those. Let me start drinking these.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, Meezy. Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went for a year, but that was more so of a experience of, hey, your mom was pretty strict. She's a single black mom. She was what single black moms was. This is my household. It goes my way, and whatever I say is law. So that turned into me going to college and realizing I've never been by myself. Like
you went to the 13th grade.
Yeah, so it's like me, like I've never been. This independence is unknown to me, and I'm not really sure what to do with this. And so I was there for a year. I really spent a year using the library and the student union to work on a blog. Basically, that's really what it was.
This is Wake Forest?
No, I went to Lee's McRae in Banner Hill, North Carolina.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, so I went there for a year, and I came home after the year, and I spent the rest of that time working. I've taken some classes here and there. I'm currently in a program in NYU for music business. So I haven't finished, but I am diligently working on all of these things. Those are my goals for before I turn 40, is to have a diploma from somebody.
Hey, that's pretty dope, man. One thing I was actually thinking about earlier today, watching some videos, was and actually just watching videos and just scrolling through Instagram, is how many people are diligent about what they want out of life, right? You have some people that they just kind of aimlessly wander through life. They're cool with the bare minimum and just surviving. And you have some people that are just super, super diligent, super tenacious about what they want out of life. They're constantly getting degrees, they're constantly getting certifications. You know what I mean? And I kind of admire that about you, right? That you're saying like, hey, I want to get a degree that gives me a leg up in the music industry, right? So Oh yeah, go ahead, Meeks. My bad.
I mean, it's just one of those. I think for a long time I wasn't happy with the quality of life. Probably even now at this juncture of life. I mean, being from a small town, I never seen this experience of I spent a lot of time just me and my mom. She didn't go to college, so I don't really know the experience of these things. And I dwelled on it for a long time, but now I'm in my 30s, and I'm thinking I think these are the things I want to have, something to say yeah, I did it. You know what I'm saying? I made it. Something after, I don't have any other documentation after my high school diploma. I want at least one more to be nah, I accomplished this.
Yeah. Hey, man. That's a really deep statement to make, right?
Yeah.
You never really think about it like that, man. I actually just seen a meme. I seen a meme earlier today on Instagram where some dude was like, hey, homeboy, give up that high school popularity. You a bum now.
Right.
Right. I feel like a lot of people feel like that, man.
Yeah, it's real, bro. I don't like to dwell on them. I don't like to dwell on them, but I don't mind, telling you like this is what I've done. This is what I did and what I've been through. But for me, I ain't made it yet, bro. Like I ain't made it yet. I've got friends and people that I still look up to that do things like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. Like you said that was the first time we met and you brought that up to me, and that's crazy because that night I might have been a little drunk and I don't remember that. But I do remember the first time we met in the Winston Tower, and he brought me in there. He was like, yeah, my dog Dwayne got his own clothing line, he printed his own stuff, and I'm sitting here like, oh, like this is crazy. Like there are people in here that like do this. And I think I was in there because y'all was with Dave and Max that day. And I was like, oh, they do all of this? And I'm like, bro, they in the city and they do all of this and they got all of this. And I'm like, damn. And so it's like people that I look up to that do shit. And I'm like, I want to be where that is. Shout out to the homie Mouse Jones. Like, I'm like, I got people around me who do great shit. And it's like, I haven't reached that level yet to be like, these are my contemporaries. Like, I want to get to that level. So every day is a struggle because, confidence ain't necessarily the issue. It's just the comparison. Like you see yourself next to somebody and you like, damn, I probably can do that. I just don't know why not, but I can do that. And so that's part of the struggle, but knowing that you can do it is always the positive thing.
Yeah, man. That really taps into imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure EA's mentioned that around you before.
Yeah, I got imposter syndrome big bad because I think it's because I'm humble enough to know like, bro, you can still call me on my phone and I answer. You can still say, hey man, can you do this podcast for me at 8:00 on a Friday night? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm free. I can do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still there. Like, my schedule ain't so big that I can't do or reschedule or do the stuff people ask me for. And I always like tell people like, I want to get to that, to a place where I make time for things that are like that need to happen. Like make time to be like, no, stop what I got going on because I need to help do something for somebody. Like I want to get to that place because I think a lot of us don't have nobody that can help us. A lot of people don't have the resources. Like now, even with YouTube is a great tool, but if you can't figure it out yourself, it's hard. So like having people around you, having people around you that you could directly go to. Shout out to you. Shout out my brother Trav. Like I can go to these people and be like, yo, this is where I'm struggling, and I always want to be that person for somebody else.
Yeah. And in you saying that, me and Trav, I hope that you truly know that if you need anything from me, when it comes to this industry stuff, you know what I mean, I'm here to help, man. I'm not the most knowledgeable, I'm not the best. There's always other people out there probably better than me in everything that I do, but if I have anything that I can help you with, please know that I'm here and I'm willing to help you with.
Always. I'm just honored to, to be here. Like, just you see, like, even with the imposter syndrome, I'm like, I ain't really done nothing enough for Dwayne. I'm just me, bro. I come in, I do what I'm supposed to do. I try to do it to the best of my ability, that it look good and people like it, and that's really it.
Yeah, but I also want you to know this too, though, Meezy. Who we are, what we represent, and what we do are all totally different than the amount of money that we generate.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And too often in Western society, specifically, capitalist society, we tend to only measure our success on how much money we're bringing in or how many eyes are viewing our content, right? You know, but again, we're doing art. So you can look at other mediums of art. Like you look at a guy like Basquiat, right?
Yeah.
We praise Basquiat now. Everybody wants to do the crown over their art. But when he was alive, he was a $2 artist.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I say all that to say, man, people who understand art, we appreciate, you know, Texturally Active and what you and Roz bring to the table. You know, you trying to be an active participant in culture is why culture continues at a high level. So if nobody else gives you your flowers, I want to say thank you. And I appreciate you, you know, trying to contribute to the culture in the way that you do, man.
I appreciate that, man. Me and Rez just strive to be ourselves and give people just give people content that they can relate to, because it's just hard. Every day is a struggle. It don't even matter if it's your art, if it's getting out of bed, if it's family, it's work. It's just a struggle, and we just want to be give you content that you can make the hour that you spend with us enjoyable, and that it'll be like, you know what, if they still come in here every week with the stuff they come in here and talk about and they got going on, I can too. And that's really all it is. Like, just make this world and our culture a better place.
Most certainly. And they talk about everything, y'all. They talk about relationships, they talk about popular culture, they talk about, you know, mental health,
addiction, family, all of this.
Family. They talk about everything, y'all. So, you know, I would definitely go ahead and make sure when y'all get an opportunity, check out, you know, my man Meezy and his co-host Roz, man. How many times a week do y'all do the podcast, man?
We are every Tuesday at 6 a.m. You can catch us on all your favorite podcast apps, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, wherever you listen to your podcast. Texturally Active Podcast should be there. 6 a.m. every Tuesday. It's on YouTube. All of that great stuff.
Okay, and for the lazy vagrants like myself, man, I can still check it out when I wake up at 2:00, right?
Oh, absolutely. The 6 a.m. is when it's out. It's out and it's up there. The YouTube's up there. Be sure to go subscribe. Tell all your friends about it. Yeah. Instagram at Texturally Act. I think it's the Texturally Act. So you can go over there and it'll tell you where to get through. Just go to Meezy Blvd. It's somewhere in my bio. You can get straight to it.
All right, perfect, man. Hey, look, again, Meez, I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your time. Who's your favorite wrestler right now, man?
Right now, currently, I gotta say, this run that Roman Reigns is going on is something that is honorable to watch, because it becomes you're the guy that they say you're supposed to be, and the fans don't fuck with it. And so the only way to make this work is if you become the bad guy, and they love you because they hate you because you're a bad guy, but also it's working and there's nothing nobody can do about it. So you gotta love the story.
Yeah, he like the wrestling Floyd.
Yeah, like it's just like this thing, and it's family based. Like he got his cousins with him. It's like, y'all, I'm the head of this table. I want to make this run, and y'all gotta respect it or not. And I appreciate that. That's great content.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man. Is there any before I get out your hair, man? Is there anything else? One piece of information, one pinpoint, fact that you want to give to everybody out there that's watching this video?
Be you. Be you at all times. Don't be ashamed of who you are. I'm on here. I knew to me this was gonna be video. My glasses got tape on them. They thick, I can't see. The whole time I've been fidgety.
I can't even tell.
Look, I've been fidgety. That's my ADD just acting up. Be who you are at all times, because for the most part, people like you because of who you are. and everybody can. There's somebody like you that can relate. That's it. Just be you at all times.
Hey, that's dope, man. Hey, look, before we get out here, just to double back, just to make sure everybody got all the information that they need to, you know what I'm saying, get in contact. Can I get your Instagram and how they can get in contact with the Textually Active Podcast?
Everything that is involved around Meezy Blvd is at Meezy Blvd right here, MEezy Blvd. Textually Active is the text. I don't even know where my phone at. Textually Active, just Google Textually Active Podcast is the first thing that's up there. I made sure because I checked today because we doing merch. 2020, 2022, we about to do some new things, get into some new merch. We're currently working on a new Banks project for 2022. We're working on new merch for that. TMP's Killer will be making some changes and going in a new direction with that, so be on the lookout for that. But 2022 is gonna be a bigger and better year for me and probably everybody that's around me.
Hey, look, that's what I love to hear, man. Make sure y'all go check my man Meezy out on all the social media platforms that he just gave you, man. This is my personal invitation to you, man. My 2020 personally, I want to be able to reach out to more people, in my community, people that's just in my ecosystem and my degrees of separation, man. I feel like too many of us silo ourselves. We all have great talents, and we have all of each other's numbers and contact information.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what's really holding us back from being able to collaborate? So that's my big thing for 2022 is to collaborate. So this is me personally telling you over the air in front of everybody watching this, man. If you need me for anything, don't ever hesitate to reach out and let me know. I'm here to help you.
Appreciate that, and that's vice versa, man. If y'all need anything, you need anything that I can help with, show up, do, be a part of, you already know. If I can make it in my schedule, I'm there.
That's what I love to hear, man. So I'm about to do my drops, man, real quick, man. You can follow me on Instagram. Both of my Instagrams, Dab Media Group. You can also follow me at dabclothing.co. You can also follow me on Facebook for both of my Facebook fan pages, www.facebook.com/dabclothingco, as well as Dab Media Group. You can also follow me and check out my website, www.dabclothingco.com. We got everything on there. I'm loading about another 1 to 2 designs every day for the next 60 days. We got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got women's leggings, sports bras, hats, women's purses, different accessories. Sky's the limit on this website, man. Go check us out and support. I'm running a lot of holiday website discounts. Also make sure you subscribe to the subscription portion of the website where we're doing up to 70% on discounts, man. If you like this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure that you subscribe to the page. Please also make sure you turn on the bell for notifications. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those below in the comments section. Thank you for coming to this week's episode of Developing Apex Brands.